So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be? Or in other words, conquer their dyslexia. That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast. What's happening today, guys? And today I want to talk to you about something. I want to talk to you about something that really, I feel that if someone told me this early on and someone really explained this to me really clearly and had me believe it early on, it would take a weight off my shoulders massively. And its saying is this: circumstances don't define you. The circumstances you are in does not define who you are. And this is like great information if I'm like 15 years old and going through like the schooling system and really growing up and getting a bit more mature and understanding how the world works, and then being even more scared because you don't believe you'll find your place in it, because you come to the end of school, you tried and failed so many times. Maybe you have problems socially, maybe you have problems with what you want to do with your career, with what you think you can do, with your grades, with passing them, with getting a diagnosis, or family problems, or whatever it is. We can sometimes feel like there's no solution, there's no way going forward. But if someone really told me, if somebody told me, made me realise that the circumstances we are in right now in this period of life do not define who we are, or our character, or our potential. Just because we find things incredibly hard now and not be able to move forward and find ourselves in really bad situations, that doesn't define us. That doesn't say, okay, this is my capability, this is what I can do, this is my potential. And this is such a clear thing to understand, and something I'm so passionate about. Because I remember being in my sixth form and not speaking to anyone. I remember when people were looking at me and just being so scared, so nervous, so frightened to really do things. And I remember people used to look at me, even I remember the group of people that wasn't my normal people I used to hang around with, some different people that I felt a bit more relaxed with. As soon as they used to look in my general direction, I would get butterflies in my stomach and feel so uncomfortable, feeling like I just want to be alone. I just want to, be like, basically, I used to do this thing. A bit of a sidetrack. I used to do this thing when I was in when I first joined my dyslexic school, and for a good couple of years, I'd have this coat. I would put my head inside this coat and zip it up and put my arms in and just stay there. Used to do that through assembly, and this is when I was like in year 3 and year 4 of going to my dyslexic school. And I remember the teachers looking at me saying, "Are you alright?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm really happy. I enjoy being in my own space." I think that was me subconsciously saying, I don't want to be in the real world. I want to be just by myself, just alone. Therefore I can do what I want, therefore I can think what I want without going to the real world. And that obviously translated into my sixth form. I hated it completely. But I also knew this is the life I'm going for, and this is it. And then I think what really hurt me was deep down I thought, well, if I can't figure it out here, if I can't figure out how to be happy, can't figure out how to make a lot of friends, can't figure out how to do the work and get these things done, how the hell am I going to cope in this real world? How am I going to make a difference? How am I going to build a life that I enjoy? And me believing at the start, these things can't happen more. These things are my reflection now is going to be in direct reflection of how it's going to be in the future. And me believing that really put myself in a downer, and this is completely not true. Completely not true. And I want to talk about it here for a bit, and just basically saying that whatever situation you are in your life right now, whatever circumstances happen, and I get circumstances, they can be, look, you got dyslexia, look, you have these difficulties, and you're in this environment in the world, like the environment of school, the environment of where you are. And yes, you're in this environment, and yes, the circumstances mean you can't do a lot of things that people are required of you to give. Does that make sense? The people required that people require of you to give, and it's like you can't do that, and then you struggle with it. And I remember And I remember being at that time, and if someone just told me, I'm repeating myself, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's so important that this doesn't define you, that this doesn't take you on this. Like, for example, it all comes down to this, it all comes down to taking responsibilities. Like, for example, if you see yourself in 10 years' time, what does it look like? What does it look like if you see yourself in 10 years' time? And now if you say, well, I'd never do this is a strange feeling, okay, I'm trying to think of myself in 10 years' time. Well, if you feel like it's a strange feeling, you don't often do it, I would urge you to do this a lot more often. Know who you want to be, know what sort of things you want to have in the long-term future. So, okay, this is what I want to have, and you focus on it and you get towards it. Because you don't focus on an exciting future, it's really hard to make progress now. You don't know what you're making progress towards. You don't have a future that excites you. Think, oh, well, it'll just work out. Because, like, with me, I believe, like, whatever happens, happens. I know what I want, but if I don't get that, I'll still be very happy. Because I know I'm doing what I think's best, what I think's right now. Me doing this podcast, I don't know how many people are listening. I don't know how many people are really taking this on. But ultimately, no, I'm doing the best with what I have, and I know that this is the best thing I can do right now, because I want to do it, because I feel that's going to have an impact, because I feel it's going to help some people, for getting people to realise how to conquer dyslexia and getting this mission out there to the world. And to us, what's happening right now, like, I'm just putting the final touches on the Finish the Book challenge, and you doing the last push of promoting it and getting it out there, and I'm really enjoying it. It's really exciting, and it's a big challenge for me to take on, and I'm challenge for you to go for the challenge for me to create the challenge. But ultimately, no, this is the journey I'm going to be on. But if I defined my abilities based upon my old circumstances of where I was with my grades that I got, with what people said of me, or what people expected of me back then in the past, I would never ever be where I am today. Never. And it's not like I'm in some amazing place that I've got this. No, I'm living in my parents' mum at the moment. But I'm so much more happy. I'm doing what I love to do. And that's what matters to me. Keep on doing that and keep on whatever. But the ultimate message is, yes, don't let the circumstances you are living define you. And also, even a bigger thing, don't let the past define you. The past doesn't equal the future, my friends. This is what I talk about in depth in the book. The number one thing that stops people, especially like dyslexics, from believing themselves is the past. Because we somehow got this belief and tell ourselves this story, sort of like weird story. Just because we couldn't do something in the past doesn't mean we can do it in the future. People believe because they failed in the past, they'll fail again in the future, and it's just not true. It's not how we are wired. It's not how we are going. So I'm going to finish this off here and just like saying, look, if whatever you're going through now, and I know people are going through hell and back, it doesn't define you. Guess what defines you? You define you. If you allow this experience, this is a horrific, terrible experience, to define you and to be a victim of the experience, then it will define the rest of your life. But if you just say, look, this is a stepping stone, look, this is just what I'm going to go through, but this will not define me, this is not who I am as a character. If you say that, and if you're strong, and if you actually go through hell and back, say, I'm going to end this, I'm going to get to the end of this, and then life's going to be such more dream, not because you got through it, but because of who you became in the process, the strength you got, the emotional strength you went from going through it. And now we can do, because you've had this terrible experience to make you stronger. That's what so many dyslexics go through. Guys, hope you enjoyed it, and please like and share and promote. And guys, I'll see you again.